How's it going, everybody? Josh, KI6NAZ. Today we're going to be looking at a very fun radio that I think a lot of people didn't know if it was real or not, myself included. I saw it and I was like, wow, that almost looks like it's vaporware, but it's not. It's real. It's the Lab599 Discovery, oftentimes seen on Instagram. This is pretty much the first time this has been on videos like this, so we're going straight to the desktop here to do a look at what this is all about, how it functions, and what I think about it. Thanks for watching. Please consider giving a thumbs up. It helps out the YouTube algorithm to show that you like this kind of content and you feel it should be in front of other amateur radio operators. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thanks. Well, are you excited? I'm very excited to bring this video to you. I'm very thankful that I got the opportunity to look at this very cool Lab599 Discovery TX-500. Now, I have a couple of details just to cover right in the front end because I think it will answer a lot of questions that have been out there. This radio has been somewhat of a cult following of ham radio. We've seen pictures of it on Instagram, and we've waited for more information how we could buy one. Is it real? You know, where do we get it? And so hopefully I answer some of these questions, and I will be showing you a tabletop of the video where I'll walk as much of it as I can through, and I will be doing a live stream in the future where I can walk through a lot of the questions you have. So any questions you have, make sure to post in the comments because I will come back to those for a live stream where I'll hopefully answer even more of your questions. Anyway, the TX-500 is a 6 meter through 160 meter transceiver with 0.5 megahertz through 56 megahertz wideband receive capability. So those of you in the shortwave listening community have been interested in this as well, given its size and the type of antennas you might use in the field for shortwave listening. This is an interesting option for you. The price, the retail price, will be $789.95 and will be sold at the HRO. I will post a link in the description so you can find out more information from the HRO. This is a full 1 through 10 watt QRP radio. It is splash resistant, not completely submergible. So if you're operating on a rainy day, you should be fine. The TX-500 is FCC approved, so no worries about buying it and using it in the United States. There are a series of DSP functions, digital signal processing functions, that I will show in this video, but I will do a deeper dive on the live stream for those that are interested. But it does have what you expect. If you want any more information on the TX-500, go to lab599.com, and there you can download a manual as well as see the full color website, which covers a lot of the features of the radio. But the manual is full English and it will walk you through all the functionality, capability, and uses of the radio. All right, I'm sure you're tired of seeing my face. Let's take it to the tabletop and explore the TX-500. Well, I'm in the middle of my Step IR build, but this came across my door. This is the Discovery, how do you hold this? 599, or Laboratory 599, and the radio is the Discovery. Now I'm just gonna show you the dimensions of this really quickly. Here we've got a little over 6 inches, a little over 7, and about 3.5. Boy, this thing is kind of hard to explain on the video here without you seeing it. This is basically a 4-piece aluminum CNC'd construction. There's a base plate, a top plate, which is all CNC'd out here, and then there's these end caps, and it's all securely screwed together. This is actually water resistant, which is impressive because you have all these connectors, and yeah, these are all sealed connectors. They are coarse threaded connectors, and it covers everything from power, your data for if you're using you know, digital modes. This is your audio in and out, and your mic and speaker combination. Important to note, there's no speaker on this, as you probably are guessing, because it's water resistant. That sealing and the reduction in the inclusion of water means that you can't have a speaker on it. And then you got a CW key and a cat control here. Now, that's the one thing that's going to be a bit different for a lot of you who deal with this radio, is they're using kind of non-standard connectors. Now they do provide extra connectors when you get it. This is the data cable, And here's another extra cable connector. Now, this is a prototype. It's a final release prototype, basically, but I don't know what the final packaging will be. So we're really just going to do a tabletop walkthrough. Now, I'm going to take a bit longer to point out some of the things on these connectors. All these connectors have specific wire connections. So this is a 2, this is a 7, right? 7 pin. Is that right? Yeah, 7 pin. And this is a 6 pin. And flip it on the other side, you got a 5, a 4, and then a coax. So these are all going to be specific connectors for this. So that's, it is what it is. I don't know that there's a way to get around that. I guess you could just use the same connector pinout type for everything and just don't use the wires. That's obviously a design choice that they went with. So I expect you'll see some kind of kit to go along with it when you need to, you know, make cables or whatever, because that's something that people are going to want to do. They want to have different speaker mics maybe, or and different power connectors, and definitely something to get that audio in and out on it. You know, I forgot one thing. They've got kickstands on the bottom here, so you can actually put the kickstands out, which is it's a pretty nice configuration when you're sitting at a table. So those little kickstands slide back in to the body, and they go in between the sides there. Let me make sure I focus that for you so you can see it. Yeah, see that? That's pretty cool. The menu system uses these strips on the bottom and the top for kind of control. So menu up, menu down, and then sub-menu. And we're looking at the CW. So we're going to go menu down. There's the AGC CW set to 5. Menu down again, CW type single. So if I wanted to change that, I click this sub-menu, and then it changed to auto iambic B, and I can rotate the VFO to change the type. So we have it on auto iambic B, we can put it back to A, and then go back into it. And so you can keep going through here. That's the menu. I call it the deep menu because, again, along this upper stripe and bottom stripe, there are buttons that correlate to the words you see. So I leave it, I haven't had this that long, but I've been generally leaving it on preamp and the RF, narrow noise reducer, noise blanker, noise filter, and squelch controls on the top. And so if I want to, I can just click the preamp, drop it off, attenuator, drop it off, right? Your RF single sideband gain control right there on the front, which is nice, so I can amp that up, or I leave it at 2. So working around, we've walked through the kind of controls on the front. There's also further controls here which change. It has memory versus frequency shift, or memories that you can change, and you can go from VFO to memory. You can lock the screen, and then you have plus minus controls for the step size of when you roll your VFO. So basically we're at 0.36. I'm at the second decimal digit, and I can jump it up to go really fast to zoom through the frequencies if I want to. I leave it at 100, and that seems to do pretty well for jumping across the bands very quickly. Now, connector type is BNC. That's the only thing that's not their proprietary connector type, which I think is pretty par for the course for QRP. This is firmware version 1.01.2. Now, the thing that probably jumps out at you is you've got this awesome waterfall, basically. And it sounds like I've got some interference somewhere around my home, which is not surprising. But it's kind of hard to see right now. What I can do is I will hit the preamp a little bit so you can see it. So there's your waterfall, and it's a black and white. Let's see if I can get even closer here. It's a black and white kind of view, and the black vertical rectangle is where your frequency, where your VFO is centered. So it gives you an interesting contrast. Now again, I'll turn this down for a second. This does have a speaker mic, and I, by and large, think it's fine. The sound out of it's not bad, but it's going to be a little tinny because your speaker's just not that big, and all the sound comes through here. You can, however, flip open this little door to add headphones, and that could be connected to another speaker, for instance, which I've done, and obviously the sound quality is going to be much improved.
Take care. I gotta go get my medicine. This is November Yankee 4 Papa Delta. I apologize for being so long-winded, vociferous, and the above. And that other gentleman out there again.
There's no tuner in this, right? So whatever you're feeding it, you're going to have to feed it a resonant antenna. But my 20 meters is probably my best antenna for resonance. Anyway, we can hop down here. It looks like the preamp's on for that too. Drop that down.
TX-500, and I ride BMW motorcycle. Looks like you're also a rider, over. Well, normally we are. The ship has been closed due to the so-called pandemic for about 3 months. We are scheduled to reopen July 1st, so visitors will be back on the ship around that time frame.
Let's do a size comparison. Here is my X5105. You can see the Discovery is a bit longer, but boy oh boy, look at the difference in the width. Obviously this has a built-in tuner and a battery. However, it does not do what this does, which is give you this really nice screen. I compare the two screens together, and obviously I'm going to be a big fan of this waterfall display, which you can get into with this, but its use is limited because it's not really for single sideband use. It's more for like doing digital and whatnot, but I'll leave that for another video. So far, they're quite comparable in terms of their capability. This lacks a tuner, has a better screen, much more packable, weather resistant. So if that kind of has the needs that you have, then great. And of course I'd have to do the same comparison with the KX2. KX2 is a much more expensive radio. I think you all know that. KX2 really, for all intents and purposes, is just a box that has a battery. It really doesn't provide that much weather protection. That's kind of one of my gripes about the radio. This obviously is going to be a lot better in a situation where it could get wet. Although I would argue it's not that difficult to keep radios from getting wet when you're out in the field. Waterproof bags are pretty plentiful, and waterproof cases are cheap. So there's the two side by side. Just comparing weight, without the battery in the KX2, these things are pretty similar. This might be a little bit heavier actually. Let's get that scale out and test it. Alright, we'll do this a couple of ways. Ounces. 19.2 ounces. Pounds and ounces. 1 pound, 3.2 ounces. Let's compare that to the KX2. Oh, 1 pound, 0.2 ounces. So yeah, KX2 is lighter. No battery. Once you put the battery in it, then it's done. Here's the big boy. Oh, he killed it. 1 pound, 15.8 ounces. So yeah, chunky, a thick boy.
Oh yeah, unfortunately.
Something just poking around here. I started playing around with the volume. Check this out.
LEDs, monitors, whatnot. The noise level just went down tremendously.
It is so loud. The sound coming out of this is so loud. I've never seen something so loud before. Wow. Holy smokes. That is the loudest. This is like literally the drive coming out of this is like the loudest radio I've ever heard. This is not bad. The KX2 is a little on the quiet side, but wow, this is crazy loud. So my initial thoughts are I like this radio. It's a simplistic design that I feel that can fit into a bag really easily. Paired with a resonant antenna, it's going to work just fine. I'm a little nonplussed with the 2-port digital radio solution. I feel like kind of in this day and age, a new radio should have 1 port, or at least we kind of work towards that medium. Generally, though, when I'm in the field, particularly doing a SOTA activation, I don't do digital modes. I do single sideband and maybe a CW contact or two. So that's not that big a deal. It depends on how this fits into your, carry out, your loadout, your goals with radio. I will say, though, I like the pan adapter screen a lot. I found it was almost, relatively, this is a black and white screen, relatively as accurate as that on my 7300, which is what I use at home, which I really like. This is a great little option for out in the field as well, and it's tiny, right? A couple of points of note, because I know people will ask, this does not have an antenna tuner. There's really nowhere to put an antenna tuner. This is all devoted to being this radio, and it, as a radio, it's fine. It seems to do just fine. From my bench testing, I was able to hear just about every station that I could hear on my 7300 using the same antenna, my Step IR 3-element beam. Seemed to do fine in that sense. The only thing that is going to be somewhat of a downside of this radio is that you have to use a speaker mic combo on it. Again, this is a waterproof brick, if you will, and so there's no speaker on here. That would be just another ingress point that they'd have to work on sealing up. So you're going to depend on things like headphones and speaker mics to make contacts, which again in the field is not that big a deal, because you want to be able to hear the audio anyway. Like if you're on a soda activation, headsets are always really, really nice, so you can pull out those signals. I want to give a big shout out to HRO for letting me check this out, this evaluation Discovery TX-500. It's super cool. Like I said, there's it's really interesting that companies can come up with stuff like this and put them out in a market that is fairly boutique amateur radio. There's a decent number of us, but the fact that we can maintain businesses that come out with stuff and try new things, interesting, different things, I think is great. So if this starts to scratch some of the itches you need for an outdoor weather-resistant radio, I would urge you to check it out. There will be links in the description, hopefully, when I post this video, on where you can check this out and maybe purchase one on your own. Again, they are extremely limited, so if you plan on getting one of these, you better act now. Anyway, I'm Josh, KI6NAZ. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment below, give me a thumbs up, and consider subscribing, because I live stream every Saturday at 5 p.m. We just opened hamtactical.com, which is kind of where the swag for the channel goes. My wife is running it, and she's been producing interesting designs, not to just go with the logos that you see on the screen, but a lot of really fun stuff. So I would hope you check that out as well. I'm Josh, KI6NAZ, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.